Welcome to Season. This is Gozi and
Ronnie, hi.
Today we're talking about closing yesterday's negative chapters. What does that mean? For me, it means putting your past where it should be, and that is in the past, especially if it was negative. It also means don't dwell on the negative things. Learn your lessons from things that have happened to you in the past, especially if they were negative, because you want to move forward, and then you don't want to dwell on all those past things and take them into the next relationship or take them into the next phase of your life, because that means soiling, if that's the word to use, whatever is happening to you in the future. And when you do have negative things, there's obviously some lessons you learn from the negative things, but you shouldn't dwell on those negative things. They were yesterday, and they should stay where they are in the past. What do you think, Ronnie?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, just breathing in the title, because it's something that we're called to do. It's the past for a reason.
Yeah.
That you're in the present with greater and brighter opportunities. And it's up to us how we make use of it. Many times you find that if that past, the door of the past remains ajar, it's pretty much the present. For instance, if you're running a business and the business closed down for whatever reason, it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
You've got to learn from the mistakes, just as God has said. There is a lesson for greater. It doesn't mean that you stop owning a business. You pack up that idea entirely. No. It means you learn from it. But nevertheless, don't say, oh, well, because the business got closed down, who knows how long it's on last. You close that chapter and purpose to do better. Start a business of value, of honor, of greater practices, greater people, and move forward. That's the way of sending a signal to the past that it's over, by making a success of the present.
Yes.
That's right. And in relationships, that we're all here to relate. Once in a while, you'll bump your head in one or two things. I'm not making triviality of it, because at the end of the day, there are some relationships that are terrible, and we are scarred by them. Sometimes scarred for a long time. But we're being challenged to learn from those negative relationships of yesterday and move forward. For instance, if you are somebody, it takes two to tango.
Yes.
Sometimes you think it's the other person, whereas it's pretty much you. If we're able to have that introspection to look around, and with the help of others, that we're able to see our own contribution to that in that relationship that was negative, and then purpose to move forward. And again, like I said, in terms of the business, your message to that past is that you're not the same person. By having a better relationship, it could be with anybody. It could be with your spouse, it could be with your parents, it could be with your siblings. Just better relationship, because you yourself learned from the past.
Yes. And then, in addition to what you say, from those past relationships, sometimes we carry over baggages, and these baggages transcend into the new relationship. Subconsciously, sometimes consciously, but you need to try and separate your past experiences, unless you're dealing with the same person and it's the same situation, or you're dealing with a similar situation. So you have to decide what really you want to do. Because if it was a negative relationship or negative issues, you don't want to be dealing with that, because obviously for it to have been negative, it means you are not happy with what was happening to you and you're not comfortable. So you need to just put it in the past and make sure it doesn't happen to you again. And, try and have a fresh mindset. Think about it in a different way, and don't put it on the next person or the next situation. Let's say you you meet a whole new person, the person is different. Don't punish the new person for something that have happened in the past. So, a lot of us actually do it subconsciously. We need to, before you start a new relationship, work on yourself. Ask yourself what happened with the last relationship and decide what you want to do going forward. That's regarding relationships. And with businesses, you need to just say, I went wrong here, tick that box, and say, I'm going to do things differently. That way, you have trashed the negative things that happened in your life, and have a positive mindset to move forward.
As you were talking, the word space came to my mind, because many of us rush from one negative experience to the other. And all you're doing is just packaging yourself and going forward, be it in a business environment or work environment or in relationships. There needs to be space. Working on yourself takes time. Relearning and unlearning takes time. There has to be space, proper space. And how long it's going to be depends on you. You've got to be able to take stock of what happened. You've got to be able to allow yourself to breathe. You've got to be able to forgive yourself and those people involved. And all that takes time. It's dependent on how able you are to work on that, on those variables. That depends on how long it will take for you to move forward. And when we talk about past, the past means being able to forget it. I know it sounds very impossible, but it is not. Because each time we keep recalling, we keep telling ourselves about it, we keep talking about it, you haven't left the past. And we're told that the subconscious mind doesn't know about fact or fiction. It just knows what's being suggested to it. If you continue to rake up what has happened, you're throwing it forward into your future. You might think that's a lot of psycho-Bible, but it is true. A part of the past is leaving it very firmly in the past and deciding to move forward with the new learning, with the new you. You made me laugh when you talked about going into a new relationship and giving the next person a hard time. It is invariably what happens. You think you're not doing it, but you end up doing it. And that's right. And that's because many times we haven't unlearned what we did. We kept saying it was them, not knowing that how did you respond? And how you responded to those things is just as important as what was done to you. It's about leaving things in the past, trying to move forward with learning, with knowledge, with understanding, so that your future and present doesn't replicate your past.
Well, losing your negative chapters and leaving them in the past is all about also relearning and having a healthy look into the future. Having a health, because you really want to just be happy, you want to be healthy, you want to be comfortable, you just want to be happy. And that's not just with your relationships, it's also with your businesses, it's also with everything else that has to do with your life. The whole essence of being is to be happy and healthy and prosperous, and whatever makes you happy, really. Leave the negative things in the past. Whatever you have to do to be able to have that experience, do it. And don't try and take it into the next one and put it on the next person or the next business. And because every relationship, I would think, is different. And you may have similar businesses, but we would also have differences in the businesses, because it has to do with so many other factors. Let's close all these negative relationships. It is not very easy, but we have to work on them going forward.
And for parents, especially with adult children, I know many of them are going through so much out there in the world. You need to be able to give them chances upon chances upon chances. If they have changed, close the door on how you used to know them. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. And I know sometimes there are different examples and situations. It's easy for me to sit here and give you advice. But what I'm saying is that if you've seen that the child is trying to change, is making amends, don't keep putting back yesterday's mistakes. Don't keep throwing it into their faces. Open your arms for them. And you might be surprised just what joy that you receive as a result of letting them in. Because I know many parents have suffered so many different things at the hands of their children, particularly in the diaspora, and they cut them off, they don't allow them to come in. And the parents themselves continue to hurt because no one brought children into the world to stop them from coming into the home. both parties are missing out. So if there's a change, there's an inkling, I do not for 1 minute suggest that you allow an abusive child into the home to devastate your life. No. But where there's been a change and there's a plan to change, there's a hope of change, let them in. You never know what the present and future will bring.
And also, yes, I will talk for the children, because sometimes we parents do certain things to our kids and we think that, okay, it's probably out of love, it's probably out of concern, but sometimes we do hurt our kids. We ask the kids to look at it from our own point of view, because ideally we want to shield them, want to protect them. So whatever you think your parents have done to you, think about it and try to find out why they did it at that point in time. And yeah, if you stop, you see, to think about it, talk it over with your parents, and then leave it in the past so that you can have a nice, healthy relationship going forward.
That's a tough one.
I know.
Because the area of work I do is very, it's just, and it's right. I think the premise is right if there's a change. But I think the challenge with such relationship is that the child was a child and the parent was the parent. So no matter what the child did, the parent had, as far as I'm concerned, a responsibility to be the parent. Nevertheless, it is us asking the children, because you find that there becomes a role reversal. As the children get older, the parents dwindle. As does their influence, as does their financial, whatever, they dwindle to the extent that the young child that was neglected or abused becomes a pariah. And then what does the parent do? But we hope that some children will find, some will never do that, and it will continue to affect them, and so on and so forth. We pray that somehow they'll find some kind of comfort. But those that are able to, I think your life will be much, much richer if you are able to forgive your parents, knowing that most of them behaved out of weakness, out of lack of knowledge. Who knows?
Yes.
But what you can do is purpose to be different when you become a parent.
Yeah, for me, Josie.
And me, Ronnie. Thank you for stopping by. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.